I think I was muted. Good evening, everybody. I'm Kopelman-Feigelson, Artistic Director of Kindred Spirits Arts Programs. And you are joining us for the second presentation dedicated to this quarter millennia of Ludwig van Beethoven. Yes, he was born on 17th of December, 1770. A lot of sevens in this number. And so this is our second program of such kind online. The first was in May. It was on, I think, on May 11th with Zora String Quartet. And this time we will be concentrating on music for piano trio. And for that, I'm joined by my dear friends and colleagues, Kopelmans, Michael Kopelman and Elisabetta Kopelman. Hello, good evening.
Hi, Joseph.
Hi.
How are you?
You look great. Sorry, I'm a little dark, but you are visible wonderfully. So welcome. Sorry, we cannot have you here live in the normal circumstances in a hall. We would otherwise perform in Milford Theater with a nice acoustic. But still, I think it's better to have you one way or the other. And of course, many of our listeners remember your performances here. How many there were? I think several, right? First, we even played with Michael and his wife, Anna, also wonderful pianist. I think that was good, like 12 years ago. And then Elisabetta came, right? We played with you and also with Eugene once.
Yes, your son Eugene, yeah. And then we played, that was, I think, 2 years ago.
Right, we did contemporary paintings were there, yeah, and we did.
Yes, and the Shostakovich piano
Right.
trio, one of the pieces, yeah.
That's great. Anyway, so I just want to say that this time we will be featuring a couple of trios that we recorded earlier in this beautiful piano room at South Westchester. Hello, are you there, Michael? I think you. Oh, okay, you're back. Good. So we recorded it thanks to actually Lisa's boyfriend, Michael Lidyakin. I think I pronounced that right. Gentlemen, I think recorded very well, but you will be the judge, the listeners, and also the video. So that was a complicated process, but I think we did it well. So we will start with an interesting piece, which is a small piece, but very special. Why? Because it was composed by Beethoven for his 10-year-old student, whose name was Maximilian Brentano. Actually, he was calling her Maxe, and he later composed actually full-fledged sonata 8 years later. But this was a piece he even wrote on the manuscript for little Maxi to encourage her, better playing piano. And he even wrote fingerings in this score. The score survived. The score is very well, neatly written, which is very unusual for Beethoven. Usually it was very messy when he would write his manuscripts. But this is something fairly easy, as you understand, for 10-year-old student of his. And he wanted to keep it discreet, and he never really wanted to publish it. This is now WOO 39, which means without opus 39. And the 39 is a good indication that there were a number of pieces that Beethoven wrote without actually meaning to publish it or to make it available for a wide audience. So I don't think he would be very happy that we play this piece. Just, I think maybe he didn't want it to be performed otherwise. But we will still keep that going, and I think the music will speak by itself. I think it's a very, very nice piece with good feeling.
Yeah, I can just add one thing, that I think it's a wonderful asset to the chamber music repertoire to have a trio in one movement, which is under 10 minutes. How many others do we have? And it's a wonderful introduction to a concert. It survived and it got published. Yeah, yeah, thanks to the publishers.
Yeah. So we have situation where many composers would write something like a present as a gift. And it was during the summer of 1812 that he visited the family in Karlsbad, which is also known like Karlovy Vary today in Czechia, on his way to Teplitz. And then he revisited them and gave this as a gift on the way to Prague. So this also family means a lot. And I want to show everyone a little bit something about the family, and most notably about the mother of the family. Her name was Antonie, actually full name is Johanna Antonie Josefa Edel von Birkenstock. She married a very, very wealthy Brentano family, and then she, of course, lived most of her life in Frankfurt, but also in Vienna, and how they met. So let me show something here. Yes, this is Anthony, or otherwise she was called Tony Brentano. She became one of the very famous philanthropists and supporters of the art of her time. In her residence, there were people like Goethe and brothers Grimm were there. And of course, she loved music. And when she was in Vienna, she heard Beethoven playing at one of the gatherings of the elite there. So she is here, obviously, in a very young age. And let's see if we can go for the next slide. The next slide, you will see her with her children. My guess is the older child is Maxe, the one that actually was that recipient of this small gift from Beethoven. Let me just see what I wrote also about that. You know, there's also a letter here that probably some of you know or heard about as a letter called To My Immortal Beloved that was written by Beethoven but never sent out. It was found in his archive. And one musicologist by the name Maynard Solomon actually did all kind of research and came to conclusion that Immortal Beloved, no other than that Anthony Brentano. His detractors, though, say that Anthony was not only married, but was likely pregnant at the time they met in 1812. And the Beethoven, by his own admission, was a faithful friend of herself, her children, and her husband, and was entirely honorable man. So we don't know really for sure if that was the case, but there is definitely that theory about Anthony or Tony Brentano. Here she is in a very later age, would say. Yes, she lived 89 years old, which is also quite notable for the women of that period. And she was, in the later years, very well noted for her charitable work. She started out of charities. She was helping the poor in Frankfurt. So that's a little bit about the mother, Tony Brentano. And now let's go to our work, which is work for a little
Yes, absolutely. It's very refreshing, and it so shows his softer side, I think. Yeah.
Not just so, I think he was dreaming about forming a family. In his many letters, he would say that he likes to marry one day and have a family, but he never did, unfortunately. And this music is almost like him imagining living in something like that, a very, very warm, nice environment.
Yeah, and thanks to you that you introduced me to that piece, so yeah.
I
yes,
played
I
it
never played it.
many years ago, yeah, when I was part of the trio. That was maybe 20 years ago.
I also played once this piece. So it's a lovely music, and really childish.
Right.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Very innocent, very nice. Very
innocent, nice. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to turn now a little bit to the subject of women and Beethoven, continue a little bit of that, because what we are doing next is a big piece of music, what was written for the lady who was called Hanna Maria Erdődy. She was a Hungarian countess. So let me show you also something. No, that's still previous. Of course, he met a lot of women who came to the concerts or his performances in saloons in Vienna and elsewhere. And one of them was this lady, young lady. Here she is, Anna Maria Erdődy. Also, she had a lush residence in Vienna, also outside, and many times provided Beethoven with place to actually stay. And she was, let's move a little bit back. We spoke about 1812. Their story starts in 1809, when Beethoven was not very satisfied with his life in Vienna. He didn't earn enough money, and he was offered suddenly a post in Kassel in Germany. So was ready to leave Vienna and go to Kassel, and then to start a different life. So this lady was instrumental of keeping him in Vienna till his death in 1827. So practically, single-handedly, she arranged like a stipend for him, and for that she introduced him to a couple of very influential people like Princess Lobkowitz, Kinsky, Archduke Rudolf, and they promised to pay him a regular stipend so he could remain there. So they became also such friends with Hanna Maria, and confident. So she was called by Beethoven his father confessor. So it means he really was sharing with her anything, almost anything, what happened with him. So that here is another old lithograph of her. So now we will go to the music. You will hear first of the two trios he wrote for her. And this one is in D major, called the Ghost Trio. Why it's called the Ghost Trio? You would want to enlighten us, Lisa? Would you talk about that?
Well, that was long after Beethoven's death, actually in 1842. One of Beethoven's students, who was actually Carl Czerny, the famous composer who wrote etudes for piano, he suggested that the slow movement, the second movement, reminded him of the scene at the opening of Shakespeare's Hamlet, of the ghost scene. So that's why it that's how the nickname originated, for that. But obviously Beethoven didn't call it the ghost. And indeed, there is certain, kind of a ghostly quality to that, and it's a very famous movement. And it was like, that's, apart from the Archduke trio, this is probably the most famous trio that he's composed. So, yeah.
Yeah, he also, Czerny recognized some of them elements that Beethoven also used in his early manuscripts of the Macbeth opera. He planned to write, never wrote it actually. But there was a scene of the witches, choir of witches, believe it or not, that he was using some of the material, similar material. Anyway, it's a piece in 3 movements. Goes trio. Okay, that was a big work. And what an exhilarating experience to play it, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Great piece.
Yeah.
Great piece.
I mean, this contrast between so much of fervor and some places they're just waiting to something to happen, and so much waiting, and something most intimate and something most bombastic. I mean, there's such a spectrum here of feelings. Just amazing work.
Yeah, it's a typical Beethoven.
And a lot of notes in piano part, I guess, too. How about Lisa? It was not easy to play.
Yeah, that's, I'm kind of used to it, playing Beethoven sonatas and, because it's piano part different. But yeah, what a magnificent work.
I also think, I mean, to give this name Ghost, I think it's actually undercuts how strong and actually very different, at times very warm and nice first movement is. And as the last movement is almost, humorous and very outgoing and down to earth. It's nothing about the ghosts at all. So really, the ghost is only in the second movement. And even in the second movement, there are plenty of just very warm and nice feelings. So it's almost like, I feel in the second movement some kind of nostalgic again feeling of the warmth. I think like somebody's missing something very important to maybe again that immortal beloved come to mind or something, or some really tremendous.
And it also feels like it's not real in a way, and dreamy. Maybe it was in his dream, this kind of very intimate, touching feelings.
Yeah, no, 3 movements, but they like almost 3 completely different works, almost like in a different spectrum of imagination and tremendous work. Okay, so we have one more work to show you, and that work is a historic recording, as a matter of fact, from 1991 that I found on internet, on YouTube, believe it or not. And it is a work of, again, very strange, interesting work. It's called Grosse Fuge, Opus 133. And it's performed there in a live concert in St. Petersburg, Russia, with no other than Borodin Quartet, led by Mikhail Kopelman. Misha, would you tell a few words about your experience with this?
Well, the Grosse Fuge, of course, considering like one of the tremendous piece of music, Opus 133 in B-flat major. Originally, it was written as a last movement of the string quartet number 13, Opus 130. And this work was completed in 1825. So it's almost 20 years ago. But this fugue on those days was deemed unplayable for long period of time. And it became like a target of such a choice description terms as cacophonous, grotesque. When it was originally written as a finale of Opus 130 in order to protect the investment of this quartet as a whole, the publisher induced Beethoven to compose a new finale, and it was a less uncompromising finale, and bring out of the great fugue as a separate work. So this is why it became Opus 133. Shortly after Beethoven's death, a lot of literature came out, and for many volumes, the deafness, eccentricity, illness of the last period or last years of Beethoven was emphasized, strongly emphasized. And the implication is that it was at the time more than a little touched in the head. And the Grosse Fuge was often used as a proof of this theory of Beethoven head, yeah. So, and this interesting quote of the quite a famous composer and conductor, Walter Dommersch, since his through all 19th century criticism, work about around Grosse Fuge like a cat around a plate of hot soup. It was his quote.
Interesting.
Yeah, so a structure of this fugue is really all ideas, and is unbelievable that this was written 200 years ago, and still these days is considered like a contemporary music, you know. If you
right.
will
Very
hear
few
this,
quartets really want to play it, of course, especially live. Very demanding.
yes, it's a very challenging piece for sure. Yeah, but such a great, one of the greatest, I think.
I was just taken by the level of playing of four of you, and him, obviously yourself included, and I decided that would be just a wonderful closing for our tonight's program. And of course, needless to say, there are recordings of other music on CDs of your Borodin quartet that those times. So if you can, audience is welcome, of course, to look on internet and find amazing recordings of not only Beethoven, obviously other composers, but this is, I don't think you recorded it on CD. It's really only that live recording survived, isn't it?
Well, yes, but it's live recording, but it's in Russian label. It was
okay.
Yeah, we have this recording from this performance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we will start it in a second. I just want to thank you again, Mikhail and Elizabeth, that you joined us this evening. I want to thank you for this wonderful time together.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Yeah. Of course. I mean, it's always such a
Yes, please.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's always such a pleasure playing with you. I hope we can do more tours in the near future sometime. But
and play in Milford. by the way.
Yeah, yeah. I just recall we had so many like August tours of China. What happened to those, needless to say. Yeah, and last day of August, it didn't happen by known reasons. Yeah, not a very happy occasion to think about that, but I hope the things will get better.
Yeah.
But we still play a beautiful Beethoven music.
That's right.
Yeah, wonderful experience. Yes. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to record it with you. And I hope we will have again a performance live for our audience here and elsewhere. Meanwhile, I want to thank our audience, and I want to also bring to your attention that we are surviving practically doing things for free. So your donations are very, very welcome. Visit our website for all the information you need, www.kindredspiritsarts.org. And of course, stay well, stay safe. And we will finish now with the sounds, glorious sounds of the Grosse Fuge, Opus 133 by Ludwig van Beethoven. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye, Yosef.